Hello, everybody. Yeah, we are right here in nature at a famous park with a very beautiful castle, and we're just so grateful to be in this kind of environment. It really calms your mind down. And yeah, this is Voice the Love. We teach love, for this is who we are. My name is Lovewell, and this is Aurelie, our our guest host, special guest host. And today we were specifically talking about, how the media has sort of evolved, from a time our parents and our grandparents actually, lived through time until now. And, the sort of impact it's had on people's awareness around, you know, the theme and the ethos of what we represent as as an organization, Voice to Love, and how it's really working out for everybody in today's day and age. So as usual, I'm gonna get some insight from Aurelie. My question to you, really, in this case, is, what do you, how do you see, or what do you think the media has done as far as encouraging people, in the older generation, our grandparents, our great grandparents, to now, as far as living a life of harmony as humanity, as the media really improved that way of living, or has it made it worse? What's your take on that?
It's a very broad question. Yeah, there's always good and bad in everything, and I think, yeah, listening to the media, watching the news, and the information that's coming in our brains, in our mind, hasn't always been positive. I mean, there's always some focuses that seems to be around violence, especially lately, or health situation and crime, and the conventional medicine that's being really reinforced upon people's minds. I don't find that always positive, because it gives us only a vision of healing ourselves solely, that way, through conventional medicine. But there are so many other ways of healing the mind, healing the body, and also, there's so many other ways and practices one can do to solve many issues that we encounter today, that have been passed on from past generations and generations and generations. So yeah, it's a broad topic to talk about, but generally I would say the media don't always share positive information to help one deal with their stress, their emotions, and their health situations, to improve it.
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, I hear what you're saying. The first thing I can say I agree on is that with the media, you get both sides. You get the good side and the bad side. And just speaking from my personal experience, what I've seen, especially with the older generation, is that as far as the media was concerned, it was very controlled.
Yes.
And it was very strict, and it was at a point where you could actually term it as propaganda. And people were given, the media was like purposefully broadcasting or giving people information that they wanted them to hear. And there wasn't any like real form of what you would say how do they say, like the right to free speech, that wasn't really practiced, based on the history of the media. So yeah, speaking in terms of the older generation, our great grandparents, and if you were to look at the forms of media back in the day, they had the newspaper, they had
The religions as well.
television, they had radio. Just talking about
Yeah.
media and
Media.
right now in general.
Yes.
They had the television, they had the
Yeah.
radio, and they had newspapers, and they had newsletters, and it was technologically it was quite medieval compared to the kind of technology we have now. So yeah, as I mentioned, you know in my opinion, the media didn't really. Coming back to my question, media really didn't play a massive role in enforcing or in educating or in spreading the word of love and harmony with everyone. It seemed that it was very controlled and to a point where it was just propaganda, and people really didn't have a say, and all they could do was just take in that information, which is what I also think you would find in today's era. The media has pretty stuck to the same old way of doing things. When we talk about media right now, now you refer to it as the mainstream media,
Yeah.
and it's news outlets such as CNN, Sky News, all these news guys. They pretty much maintain a level of propaganda as far as the news that is shared with everybody. Now, of course, with the internet and technology playing a huge, massive role in changing this narrative, we find out that there's now that level of consciousness within the media spectrum, as far as what kind of information and what kind of content is being shared, and it's around, a lot of it is around people really waking up to the reality that a lot of us here on this planet have been misled and been lied to for such a long time, and it's usually through the media. And what makes it worse, in my opinion, is when you look at the bad side of media, is the kind of garbage you get in the movie industry, Hollywood. But it's not just Hollywood. Now it's spread all over to so many other countries, and like you said, they spread a lot of violence. It's a lot of immoral activities. It's really taking people away from
love.
yeah, from love and pure reality,
Yeah.
because we've heard this so many times that a picture is worth 1,000 words. Now just
Yes.
imagine what a movie filled with so much violence does to a person's mind. That kind of programming is just on another level.
Or sexuality as well.
Sexuality, things that are considered to be pure and sacred within our anatomies, have been toyed around with, and people have been fed the wrong ideology around that. So yeah, that's really my take on what the media has contributed to the consciousness of humanity as far as spreading love and becoming one as a family, as humanity, because after all, this earth was given to us at no price. It was just there for us. It was created just for us, and that being said, is something that I believe we all need to remember, that it's not just for me, it's not just for you,
It's for
not just a
everyone,
group
yeah.
of people, it's for
It's for
everyone.
everybody.
So yeah, Aurelia, what do you think? What's your take? Just sticking on that subject, how you think the media has influenced our plight to make sure that humanity wakes up to this realization that we're actually all in this together. There's no need to fight. There's no need
Yeah,
for wars.
absolutely.
Yeah. What do you say, Roland?
So yeah, for me, at the end of the day, one has to be aware and conscious about the information that one receives, whether through any media, mainstream, as you say, mainstream media, or any, whether it's the internet or social media. One has to ask himself or herself the question: how is this serving me? How is this information coming through my mind is serving me for my highest good and for the highest good of all? So for me, it's really important to really go within ourselves and ask ourselves that question: how is this information is serving me, my highest good and the highest good of all? In order
Absolutely.
for us to be that one human family, united through love and purity of our minds, that's the most important thing that one need to ask himself or herself.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree with you. And we could tell that the media has also influenced people around, the ideology of coexisting with each other.
Yes.
And not just that, you touched on earlier on, the medical industry and how people have been misled to believing that
This is the only way
this is the only way
to heal ourselves, or to heal our pains and,
Yeah.
and our aches and our sorrows and our stresses. And often it actually creates the opposite of health, of perfect health. It creates even more aches or pains or depressions. It often creates actually more problems than healing. Or I'm not saying every time, but in most of the times, this is what happens. So one has to learn, other ways of being healthy, of feeling good, of healing oneself or himself or herself.
Absolutely. And the media
And receive the correct information for this to
Absolutely.
happen.
Yeah, that's for sure, because when you look at it, people always look for the I would say the most simple way of getting information. And for a long time, the media has played a really huge role in people getting good information, but at the same time really misguiding and bad information. So
Yeah.
like you're talking about, there are different ways that we obviously know today, but the older generations, I would say, would have been in a position to decipher whether what they saw in the media was correct or not, as far as medicine is concerned. Because a lot of people back in the day actually sort of relied on the natural way of healing, which is sort of different to how things are going on today. A lot of people do, a lot of the times highly depend on pharmaceutical drugs, and then completely forgetting about the source, the pure medicinal source of each and every person, and
Creates this connection.
and
It
creation on
yeah.
this plane, because as humanity, and including all the creatures that live here, for a long time, before the creation of the pharmaceutical industry, people have always gone to nature to heal, and they've always found medicine. They've always found herbs. They've always found ways of healing in a complete sense, on a holistic sense,
Especially
just
in Africa,
through
right?
just through nature. So just talking in general, not
Yeah.
specifically thinking about one specific region.
No,
'Cause,
but I'm
if you
saying
go
this
to
is what most
if
people
you go
use,
to
right?
if you go to the native cultures in
Yes.
Australia,
Oh,
New
yeah.
Zealand, when you talk of native cultures, really,
Yes.
then it's a completely different story from what we see today.
Yes.
So the media sticking to that main subject. I'm grateful, and on my part, that The media has shown me, a lot of things about, what's actually good and what's not.
Yes.
Like you were talking about making a conscious decision of, okay, what am I taking in here? If the
Yes.
media is consistently feeding me negative news about who died yesterday, what the disaster that happened the day before,
Or people being angry.
or people, yeah, but I'm just talking in general, like what you see on the news.
Yeah, but
So
they
what are
often show this kind of emotion of anger to create more anger, separation,
Yeah.
division. So anger has been a big emotion projected in the mainstream media. I mean, in my opinion, my personal opinion.
Yeah,
And I'm grateful also to see that, because it's something I can work within me. That reflection or projection of that emotion, anger and also all sorts of
yeah.
emotions. But
Well, I was expressing my gratitude, in the sense that the media, on the other hand, does show positive news. In the sense that right now, today, there are so many platforms
yes.
that represent, a coherent way of living as humanity, that you get on media, and not on mainstream. On mainstream, it's mostly, negative and very propaganda driven, and they want to stick to one narrative, and they usually all literally give us the same storyline, and it's like the same thing they keep repeating, and this is a way of programming that I think has been really detrimental on people's main core beliefs about what humanity really is. Because in today's day and age, in the 21st century, it is unbelievable to realize that you still have, people who firmly believe in going to war. That is something that I think really needs a lot of, very deep integration, as far as, letting go of that ideology and way of life, because there is no need
a way
whatsoever.
of thinking as well.
Yeah, there is no need whatsoever for people to be wanting to engage in war
Or in
in our
such
day and
behavior,
age.
yeah.
Exactly,
In such violent behavior.
because first of all, what we need to realize is that our planet has so much abundance for everybody. There's so much abundance. It can literally help in each and every person here for thousands of years. But of course, coming back to the media, the idea that we always fed is the fact that there's a lot of scarcity on this planet. There's a shortage of supplies of food, of water. How can that be? Even with water, the amount of land coverage on the planet is around 25 to 30%, and the rest is water. So what are we doing with that water, for crying out loud? Seriously, like, what are we doing with that water? So these are the things that we don't realize. How the media has really painted a picture of a
of
very
lack or
yeah,
fear of lack.
it's a massive illusion that has taken us away from the facts and reality of the truth of the way things should really be. And the media has, in fact, really manipulated, a lot of areas of our lives: the education system, the healthcare system, the social system. All the systems have been manipulated by this one giant source that has gone and seeped into people's minds and consciousness in such a massive way that it's really controlled our behavioral pattern as humanity as a whole. So
And those patterns have been, obviously transferred, or what's the word? They've been passed on from generations to generation. And it's
Absolutely.
time for us now to create a new way of living and being.
Yeah, a new
and
way.
behaving as well.
Really, yeah, that is so true. It's a new way of relating to each other as one coherent, cohesive family, because we do need that as human beings. So the last time we kind of touched on the fact that, you know, when people are born into this reality, there is no need whatsoever for any person to suffer in any way whatsoever. That is so true. And but how do we get to that point? This is one of the ways. Let's
Share this
continue,
yeah.
exactly. Let's continue, you know, sharing this information, because you know, we are part of the media, but we are on the good side of the media. We don't want to feed you with images of violence. We don't want to,
or negativity.
exactly. We don't want to feed you with images and movies of
Limitations
of
as well.
yeah, of scarcity, of wars, and that's a lot you get in mainstream media. And I'm sorry to say, a lot of us out there are really addicted, and they this is the only thing they know. They think, you know, watching like a very terrifying or a horror movie or a violent movie or a violent show is really entertaining, but it's because of the brainwash that has happened. The
Yeah.
brainwash has happened for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would also be nice to hear from the audience what they think about this
Yeah,
topic. It will be
absolutely.
really good. And
Yeah, so how can we evolve together progressively, evolve in a positive way together as a human race, as a one human family that is, you know, practicing love as a way of being, living, and behaving,
absolutely,
and peacefully, obviously.
absolutely. Yeah, it's just massive. You can even talk about things like the things that are promoted through the media, like alcohol, for instance, and how alcohol really affects people in a negative way. It's just one form of media that's still existing until today, and that has made people believe in so many ways that it's just the way of life.
Yes.
But if you look at the detrimental effects, which is what the mainstream media will never expose, of what alcohol does to a person's physiology, their health, what it does to a lot of people, health-wise, you'll be shocked. You'll truly be shocked. So
Well, it's
this
been
is-
linked to depression as well, and most
Yeah.
people are not even aware of that.
Absolutely.
Of that depressive factor behavior that is massive in you know, drinking alcohol or even food as well. But we can talk about that in another
Absolutely.
video.
'Cause
We've got so much to talk
I
about
think
with you. So.
in this particular video, we could make it a two-part
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
session.
Yeah.
But yeah, please do communicate with us. We
Yes.
want to hear what your views are around this. If you agree, if you disagree, if you think you know, there's something else that we are missing as
Yeah.
a point. Or
And that
as
you
a-
want to
as a
share as
matter-
well.
or as a matter of fact. So it's important that you just let us know,
Yeah.
because yeah, it's important to interact, and for us to all know that we are working together on this one. Nobody on this planet really enjoys war. Nobody enjoys poverty. Nobody on this planet enjoys homelessness. Nobody on this planet enjoys
Lack.
scarcity,
Scarcity, lack.
Nobody enjoys that. But we created our previous generations created systems that have got us to this point where we need to look at all angles. Okay, there are beautiful aspects in life. Yes, so many of them, but let's improve on what needs to be improved for the sake of everyone and not just me. Me. I'm not going to do that just for me. It's for everyone, because this place was designed and created for everyone. Okay,
Yeah.
so
And I
that's,
think, can I add just something?
Yeah.
I think it's important as well, because we were talking about the purity and the love, that I think it's important that we shift our perspective to a love-based system, or I would say society, rather than a fear-based society, which is also predominant still till not, you know, till today. So it's really important to be aware of what are we afraid of, and how can we shift from these fears to a love-based
absolutely,
family.
Absolutely. So
So
yeah,
please share with us as well how you feel about that, and
Yeah.
and how you have mastered this, if you have managed to shift from a fear-based system that is kind of old paradigm to a love-based system that is the new paradigm that we want to co-create with everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with you because a lot of the things that have been, pushing the media's agenda and propaganda is the fear, because that's what's been fed to people a lot of the time.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people are left with no choice at the end of the day, really,
Exactly.
because this is the only source that they are used to, that they know, that has been existing for some time, a
Yeah.
lot of time, and at the end of the day, it's the programming in people's minds,
Yes.
and we're here to help with that shift of
Yeah.
coming out of that programming,
Yes.
and so do follow us on YouTube, on Facebook, on all the social media,
Instagram,
social
TikTok.
media platforms, and we'll go ahead and interact with you. Okay, so this is Voice to Love. We teach love. This is who we are. Signing out with Aurelie, and let's keep the love flowing.